Hello, everyone. Welcome to the post-Week 13 edition of Stacking the Box. Myself, Iain, MacMillan, Sterling, Holmes. We got a lot to talk about recapping Week 13 action, including Sterling. I am officially at war with fans of the Kansas City Chiefs. We are going to – I don't know if you saw that over the weekend. We're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about my Falcons are completely toast. We're going to talk about the NFL playoff landscape and everything that happened this past week of action. And then we are also going to, as always – preview Monday Night Football. Browns, Broncos. Broncos can pretty much lock up a playoff spot with a win tonight. Sterling, how's it going?
I'm good, man. I was in Florida. I was able to watch a lot of football. I was watching it from a hot tub and pool. We have an outdoor TV down there. It's a nice setup. It's gorgeous. And then I'm down there golfing, going to the beach. Just an absolutely lovely week. And then I fly back. And what do I fly back to? Snow. Yeah, so a little different, but glad to be back in Kansas City. I'm sorry that you're getting in fights with Chiefs fans. Seems so unlike you, Iain. You're a lover, not a fighter, yet you're always finding yourself in fights. But here we are.
Every single season, Sterling, I go to war with a fan base. This season, it took longer than it usually does. I think I've been kind of cooking on this. This has kind of been on the back burner, and it kind of came out to the front burner this past week. Well, last year it was Eagles fans. A couple of years before that, it was Titans fans. It's been Steelers fans in the past. Even in the NHL, it was Islanders fans one year. I got into it with John Taffer on Twitter, the bar rescue guy when he was the Islanders. This has become a thing that I do on a yearly basis, and the most recent team now has been the Kansas City Chiefs and Nick Wright.
Yeah, that's not a surprise.
Yeah, but we'll get into that, Sterling. We do got to get through the ad read there.
Well, what I was going to say, if you could let me have a transition, Iain. I had a great, we were talking about fighting, but let's talk about loving. And something that I love upon is Underdog. Underdog is the best place to cash in on all your takes this football season. Yeah, baby, I love it. We're not fighting, we're loving here because we love Underdog. Which players are going off? Which ones are cold? Make your entries in just a few taps and turn your sports opinions into real money. You can join over 5 million fans that are already playing on Underdog. With the Pick'em game, you can win money just by making entries with your favorite players. It's the best place to play champions, so make sure you sign up and deposit now using promo code Stacking the Box to get up to $1,000 in bonus cash instantly. Stacking the Box, all one word. See, I love Underdog because I played it last night. And I had a nice little three-leg parlay. Three players. Three players I chose. And what did I choose? Well, one of those players I chose, Trevor Lawrence. What happened to Trevor Lawrence? He got a dirty hit, concussed, out of the game. What did Underdog do for me? What did Underdog do for the good old man over here? They said, he's injured. That's not fair. Let us return your money. Who else does that? Who else has injury protection? It's Underdog, baby. It's incredible. Iain, I needed that. I was struggling. But Underdog helped me, and they can help you too. Okay? So make sure you download the app today and use code Stacking the Box to get up to $1,000 in bonus cash instantly. Higher or lower, you make the call on Underdog. Must be 18 plus, 19 plus in Alabama, Nebraska, 19 plus in Colorado for some games, 21 plus in Massachusetts and Arizona, and President State where Underdog Fantasy operates. Terms apply. Void in Colorado. Concerned with your play. Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit www.ncpgambling.org. Arizona 1-800-NEXT-STEP 1-800-639-8783 or text NEXT-STEP to 53342. New York, call 24/7 HOPE line at 1-877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369.
Sterling just flexing on me with that ad read. The ad read, the disclaimers. Oh my God, you're right. I got to work on my ad read game moving forward.
Just ripping that.
That was nice.
Thank you.
So do you just want to start with the Chiefs here? Do you want to get this out of the way here? Let's actually, you know what? Let's recap Sunday Night Football first, and then we can talk about Chiefs. Because Sunday Night Football is obviously the most recent thing. It just happened last night. Fun game. Was the Josh Allen passing touchdown and receiving touchdown in the same play the coolest play of the season so far?
Yes. That was electric. In the snow, too, because the ambiance really sets the stage. First off, it wasn't a great throw. And Amari Cooper saved that, kind of one-handed it to himself. He's getting wrapped up by three guys. I was very nervous they're about to blow the play dead. Because if you're watching that, you're seeing Josh Allen and you're seeing what's about to transpire. You're seeing, oh my gosh, they might actually do this. And I'm so glad the refs did not call the play dead or forward progress has been stopped. Amari Cooper flips it to Josh Allen, who Supermans his way into the end zone. You know, it's one of those plays where it's very dangerous because the ball comes loose before you hit the pylon or goes over and it goes out the side of the end zone. It's a touchback, right? One of those nuanced, interesting rules that no one can agree upon. I think the rule's fine, by the way. But he's able to hold on, scores the Superman touchdown, and you're just left in awe. I mean, what quarterback does that? It's why I love watching Josh Allen play football. It's why I love watching the Bills play football. I mean, this was an ass-kicking. Obviously, you can talk about Christian McCaffrey and all the stuff with the 49ers, which we can get into. But the Bills are showing their dominance right now. In a year where they were supposed to take a step back, they have taken a step forward, and it all goes with 17, Josh Allen.
You know, there's a take that comes out every time there's a big snow game. I think we saw a couple people with it a couple weeks ago with the Steelers and Browns, too. Some people always come out saying football is not meant to be played in this weather. I disagree. Now, would I want to watch football in a snowstorm every single week, every single game? No. Is it the most pure expression of the sport of football? No. But I do love a snow game. I love everything that comes with it. Teams have to run the ball more, people sliding all over the place, fans throwing snowballs. I'm afraid there's going to be a day where every single team's playing in a dome. And I don't want that to happen. Because it's too fun.
The Bills don't even have heated field, which is mind-blowing playing in Buffalo. Of all the organizations that probably should have a heated field.
Good.
Should be. Well, you wouldn't have all their fans have to come out and shovel snow. Would be a little easier. But no, man, I'm with you. I love snow games. I don't want it all the time. I understand, as you're pointing out, it might not be the most pure example of football with guys sliding around, which, by the way, I think if you're a cornerback, I don't know why. I know teams always run it in the snow, and I get in this game when both teams were ripping off chunks on the ground, it made sense. But if you're a cornerback and you're an offense, throw the football because it's hard to get a pass rush because you're slipping and sliding. And if you're a cornerback, you're slipping and sliding and you don't know what the receiver's going to do. Like, I think cornerback has to be the hardest position to play in the snow. I've always wondered why teams don't throw the ball more in snow games. But yeah, my 2 cents.
From a betting standpoint, whenever people see that there's going to be a snow game, a lot of people pound the under, thinking it's going to be a low-scoring game. But actually, snow helps out offenses because having to react to plays on defense, you don't get your footing as strongly as you can offensively. And actually, snow games actually help out offenses, and we saw that last night. Bills almost hit the over by themselves, and the total dropped, I think, like 3 or 4 points before the game started.
I'm with you.
All right, let's talk about the Chiefs. Sterling, let's play a little game of fact or fiction.
Fact.
I sent out a tweet here on Friday after the Chiefs Black Friday game against the Raiders.
Fact.
Things that have happened late in Chiefs games this season. Isaiah Likely's toenail was out of bounds.
Fact.
There was a penalty on the Bengals late in the game that had a huge impact.
I don't know. Bengals fans complain about everything, so I have no idea.
There was a penalty.
And it was a legit penalty, so I don't know what the complaint is.
Okay. But there was a penalty.
Sure, a legit one. I mean, Bengals fans are soft. They're not complaining about TJ Watt for sacking Joe Burrow too hard. Like, I mean, Bengals fans, I don't know how they get through life.
Sterling, this is fact or fiction. This is not crap on Bengals fans.
Quick little tangent here. Because it's not all Bengals fans. But, like, there are so many Bengals fans that complain about everything as your team has won 4 games. I don't know how they get through life. Like, how can you tie your shoes in the morning? Apparently, you're just always, everyone's out to get you. Like, it's like,
Sterling, we're playing fact or fiction.
No, you're riding a bicycle, and then you grab a stick, and you throw it in the spokes, and then you fall off the bike, and you get injured, and you're trying to blame someone else. You put the stick in the spokes and fell. You're the reason. Bengals fans, grow up.
How about Chiefs fans grow up? How about that, Sterling? Let's keep it going. Non-call on the Chiefs against the Falcons in the end zone. Pass interference. Did that happen? Fact or fiction?
Sure, it wouldn't have mattered.
Fact,
but
it did happen. Bucks don't go for 2. Chiefs, of course, win the coin toss in overtime. Chiefs win the game. Fact or fiction?
Yeah, that was a fact.
Fact. They blocked a field goal against the Broncos on what would have been a game-winning kick.
Yeah, it was a great job by Leo Chanel and Stav Spagnuolo. That was a fact, yeah.
They made a last-second field goal against the Panthers after the Panthers came back against them. The worst team in the NFL came back against them the next week. Fact or fiction?
Fact.
The Raiders then botched a snap to then lose the game against the Chiefs on Black Friday. Fact or fiction?
Yeah, that's wild. So apparently Kansas City is the team of destiny. That's all I'm saying.
Well,
it makes no sense.
Right. And all I did, Sterling, on Friday was tweet out those examples of things that happened late in games against the Chiefs and nonstop since then. My Twitter notifications are going nonstop. People calling me an idiot, saying that, like, I don't know what I'm talking about. If you knew ball, it's because this and this genius coach drew up this play and nothing has ever gone the Chiefs' way. The Chiefs are the greatest team in history. The Chiefs, who are quite factually, objectively, the worst 11-1 team in NFL history. If you look at point differential, their point differential by far worse than any other team with a similar record in the history of the NFL. Yet me just pointing out some things that may have gone their way late in games this season, I'm an idiot. I did, Sterling, was point out objective facts and things that happened in the game. And then Nick Wright, of course, everyone knows Nick Wright, the biggest Chiefs homer of all time, quote tweeted me. And then he had an excuse for every single thing that I said, which once again, nothing I said in my tweet was incorrect. Every single thing was a fact. I did say the call on the Bengals was questionable. Maybe I shouldn't have used the term questionable because people are rightfully roasting me for that. But everything else, it still was a late penalty on the Bengals, a penalty that the Chiefs did the exact same thing and it wasn't called against the Falcons, almost an identical play.
Agreed.
And Chiefs fans are going ballistic.
Well, the reason why, if you would have looked at the penalty parts of both those games, I think you would have a lot less pushback. Because the Bengals one was legitimate, and the one against the Falcons, yes, should have been called, but I don't think that was going to be the deciding call in the game.
Okay, but it could have been. It was late in the game.
Oh, it could have been.
They would have been on the 1 yard line with a go-ahead chance. Yeah.
Oh, could have been. There was still time left, is my point. Like, just saying that if that happens, the game's automatically over, I think is just such
but I never said it was automatically over.
No, I know.
It's a different game if that
my point is complaining about penalties is a loser's mentality. You're never going to win in that argument of any team. Any team. So my point here is, if you would have taken those two out, I think you would have gotten a lot more agreement. And I find it interesting. I'm with you when it comes to the worst 11-1 team ever, and should they be 11-1? Probably not. No, they have a worse point differential than the Broncos, right? They do. That is a fact. But when you're talking about the worst 11-1 team, I think people are glossing over. They're 11-1. Like, I feel like that's a little bit of a hilarious part that's getting glossed.
I don't think it is. I think that's the whole point.
Well, you're not saying they're terrible.
No,
and I don't think Chiefs fans are saying this is the best 11-1 team. I think what we're looking at is an 11-1 team who is 11-1 and currently the 1 seed in the AFC that has won games untraditionally, and they have gotten lucky. What I will also point out, and I don't know where I saw some, you may have tweeted this out. I don't know if you retweeted this or if it was some other account. The Chiefs haven't even been the luckiest team in the NFL. They're like 6th. When they have like the
Chargers are.
Yeah, when they have like the luck probability added and all that stuff, the Chiefs aren't even 1. And I think that's where Chiefs fans sometimes get upset. You know me. I don't really care. I'll watch the Chiefs in a hot tub outside with 85 degrees. I'm chilling. I'm fine. I got a Busch Light in my hand. I'll be okay. But
Busch Light.
Yeah, Busch Light's fine. Or some bourbon. It doesn't matter. I'm fine.
I don't know if you are fine if you're drinking Busch Light.
Okay, Labatt Blue. I'm not going to get, for you, I'm not going to get too up in arms over people trying to find a way. Like, that's not going to get under my skin. Like, I just don't care. But what it comes down to, the Chiefs are 11-1. They've won some lucky ways, but they're not the luckiest team in the NFL. It's why when teams always point out penalties, I get why people get upset. I'm not going to get that upset because nothing's going to change. It's not like, oh, yeah, that penalty should have gone against Kansas City. Let's take one win away, and now let's add a loss. That's not how the NFL works. Refs just suck. And that's why I think Chiefs fans get upset, because it feels like everyone is pointing to them anytime they get a call go their way, when they've not had the majority of calls go their way. They've had some big ones go their way. There's no disagreeing there. Like the Bengals won. That's a big one that went their way. The Falcons won. A big one that went their way. But no one ever brings up the ones that go against them. No one ever brings those up. And that's why I think they get upset. Refs just suck. They're just not good. It's a hard job. I don't always blame the referees. It's very difficult. But it's a hard job. And when you're only nitpicking the things that go KC's way and just refusing to look at the full landscape of refereeing for 32 teams total, I think that's where Chiefs fans, again, not me, but I'm trying to speak for some of the majority here, get upset, especially on the X.
But the refs thing was 2 of the 11 points that I made, and I think all I want from some recognition from Chiefs fans, and I think to give you credit, I think you are giving them the recognition that this team has had late game situations on an almost weekly basis go their way to the point where it's laughable.
Yes.
I mean, the Raiders just botched a snap on the last play of the game. All I want is this is crazy. Can we all just take a step back and admit that it's crazy? But then I have Chiefs fans still 3 days later roasting my mention saying I'm crazy for saying that the Chiefs have had some late game luck.
No, you're correct. They've had some late game luck.
Don't piss on my leg and tell me it's raining. I'm seeing on the TV what's happening. It's unbelievable luck in late game situations. And it's not like a few have gone their way, a few have gone against them, because in so many games every single week, there is late game luck on one way or the other. But generally over the span of an NFL season, some of those games go against one team, and then other times it'll work against them. It has gone their way every single situation that they're in this season. And I just want some recognition from Chiefs fans that that's the case. But I'm telling you, Sterling, my mentions and DMs are flooded with Chiefs fans who refuse to admit that. They said it's not luck. They're all geniuses. It's the greatest team ever. This is what happens when you win. Just admit to me that there is a level of maybe not even luck, maybe a variance that has gone their way more often than it has for other teams this season in late game situations. Now, you have to be a good team to get to that spot. And that's the thing. I'm not coming out and saying the Chiefs are a bad football team. They're obviously not. They're the back-to-back defending Super Bowl champions. But as a non-Chiefs fan, it is wild to sit down and watch them play every week. And it's a new thing every week. Every week it's a new way. This time it was a botched snap. There's a blocked field goal. A new way every week the Chiefs win the game late.
I think variance is the correct way of putting it. And that's the word I'd probably like to use more than luck, because I think luck is one of those what is it? Variance, I think, is maybe because we like to bet, and so you use the word variance instead of luck, right? Because luck is just variance. But I think variance is a little more. I think if you say variance, I think maybe you'd get more agreement. I know terminology can somewhat be interchangeable, but I think terminology can also affect people's mindsets. So I think if you said variance, I think you'd maybe have more agreement. They've had a lot of variance go their way. The Chiefs probably should be about 9-3. Now, all the ones you brought up doesn't mean they should have lost all those games.
No, and that's not what I was saying either. Yeah.
But again, I think when people read it, it's not your fault. I just think when people read into that, they automatically think you're saying the Chiefs should be, 4-7, 4-8, which is not what you're saying. But I think people are reading into it that way. What we're probably saying is the Chiefs should more than likely be about 9-3. That's about where the variant should end up.
8-4, 9-3, yeah.
Sure, somewhere around there. And what were they last year? They were 11-6, and they were able to beat the 3 of the best teams, one of the best stretches in playoff football history, as far as the teams they went up against on the road and were able to win, right? So I mean, this is nothing new. That's why I'm not bothered as much. I'm more upset when I watch how the Chiefs play football. Like when you watch the Arrowhead Addict show, you'll see me get analysis as far as how the Chiefs are playing. But in regards to all of this stuff, if you're a Chiefs fan, just block it out. It's just noise. You're the back-to-back Super Bowl champions who are 11-1. They can't take that away. As much as people complain, they can complain refs, variance, anything you want. Don't let it bother you. It doesn't matter. And if you're everyone complaining, focus on your team. I don't know. I guess I've never gotten into this argument because nothing's going to change. If you complain about all those things, which I'm not saying you're complaining, you're just bringing this up, but people who actually complain and will send messages and stuff, what's going to change by you doing that? Is the NFL going to take away a Chiefs victory? Are they going to say, you know what, you're right. We're no longer
I can only dream.
We're no longer going with the actual record. We're going with the analytical, like the Pythagorean theorem, wins about. Like, no, that's not how this works here. So I think a lot of times people just like to argue, which human nature, but I don't let it bother me. Ian, I don't think you're completely wrong. I think you've actually had some good points you've made. And 10P kids, I appreciate a Bengals fan still being here, even if I sometimes rip on you guys. I appreciate you. And I see him talking about how the refs are not held accountable. Yeah, I'm with you. I just think it's such a hard job. I think that they should get more assistance from overhead. Like, I don't get why they don't just have a referee who's back. You can do it in Secaucus and just sit there and do when the play's over. But why not have a ref actually watch a game from like an all-22 angle and say, hey, that's not a hold. Hey, that is a penalty. That makes way more sense to me.
Yeah, so, and you mentioned the luck rankings that I did tweet out is the Chargers are actually and I didn't actually look into exactly what this algorithm is. I mean, it's so hard to measure something like luck, so I'm just going to assume it's a correct algorithm and it makes sense. Chargers were number 1 heading into this week, and they got to take on the team that ranked dead last in luck this season, which of course is my Atlanta Falcons, because this is the curse I bring to whatever team I cheer for. It's unbelievable that this happens to the teams I cheer for. The least luck, and I bet you that those luck rankings actually probably widened even bigger because the Chargers actually kind of got outplayed in that game. I would say if there is a luck factor, once again, I didn't look into seeing how they measure it, but Chargers seemed to kind of get lucky in that game. I mean, they didn't score an offensive touchdown. The Falcons somehow got a pass rush out of nowhere, 6 sacks. And then the Falcons still managed to lose because of Kirk Cousins, who I have publicly taken responsibility. That's on me for recruiting him to Atlanta. My bad.
Yeah, 4 interceptions is tough to get lucky.
I guess it depends on how those interceptions came.
Yeah.
But those weren't really unlucky interceptions. He was just throwing them right to the other team.
Yeah. And by the way, the only time you actually rooted for the Chiefs this year, they lost. So I think there is something to this. Maybe if you just start going for KC every single week, that block field goal doesn't happen. That botch snap doesn't happen.
I am absolutely, and the Chiefs are in the playoffs. I'm betting on them every week, which hopefully will just be 1 week. But I will be betting on them every week. If that's what it needs to, if that's what needs to be done for the Chiefs to lose, is for me to sacrifice my bet, I'm willing to make that sacrifice. But yeah, the Falcons are toast. I don't know, Sterling, if you've seen the NFC South odds. It's now nearing a coin flip for the Buccaneers to come back and win the division. It would have been nice for the Panthers to pull that off in overtime, of course. I mean, another connection to me, the Chuba Hubbard, the Canadian, might have just screwed the Falcons out to win the NFC South by fumbling for the Panthers in overtime in field goal range.
Yeah, that's brutal.
Because if the Panthers win that game, the NFC South is basically Atlanta's.
I mean, they're 6-6. At some point, hoping the Panthers don't screw up is on you.
Yeah, it's even if we make the playoffs, it doesn't matter.
It'd be like Kansas City, like hoping the Raiders would screw up, and if they don't, oh no, what happens? Like you're hoping the Raiders screw up. Or don't screw up, I should say. They're always going to screw up. The Panthers are always going to screw up.
Yeah.
Like, don't be 6-6. They don't throw 4 interceptions. Michael Penix Jr. season might actually happen at some point this year. I doubt it, but
I don't think it. What's going to happen? They're going to unless they're out in like week 18 and 17, which is possible. Then they'll put Penix in for a couple games, but. You got to stick with Kirk the rest of the year. Start with Kirk next season, and if Kirk doesn't look good by like week 5 or 6 next season, then you put Penix in. Which is a shame because I actually think our chances might be better with Penix right now.
Well, what's interesting,
Kirk is not good.
Well, what's interesting is Kirk Cousins, the first like week or two was a struggle, and then he really got it going, and the Falcons' offense looked really nice. I was like sitting here going, okay, the Falcons might be a legit NFC contender. You know, you know my thoughts. I thought they were about a 10-win team, maybe win a playoff game. But when the offense was humming, I thought, okay, they might have a little more upside than I thought. Well, that defense is not great. They're not a bad defense. I don't think
yesterday was the best game they played all season.
Yeah. And then the
6
offense
sacks by the Falcons?
Yeah,
wow.
They had, 11 and 10 games or something like that? It was like 1 over the amount of games they've played.
Yeah, the fewest in NFL history through the first 10 games.
Yeah, it was incredible.
They almost doubled their season sack total in one game against a Chargers pretty good offensive line too.
A really nice tackle play of Rashawn Slater and Alt. I didn't see if they were played in that game particularly, but yeah, man, I've been very disappointed in Atlanta, which I can't imagine how you feel.
It's just another day in my life, which is why, and I mean, and a lot of Chiefs fans, when I kind of went to war with them on Twitter, I mean, they were right. They said you're just mad because you're jealous. Correct. Fact. Yes, you caught me. I'm jealous of a back-to-back defending Super Bowl champion who has everything go right for them. Yes, correct. I would like that for one of my sports teams. I would like a margin of that for one of my sports teams, please. Doesn't even have to be the Falcons. All right, yeah, Falcons are toast. They basically can lose maybe one more game the rest of the season. So they got to beat either the Commanders or the Vikings on the road. Vikings this week, they're big underdogs. And then they still have to win the 3 winnable games. So I don't know. It's done. I think Sterling. I think the Steelers. I think I'm looking at them now as legitimate AFC contenders.
Yeah.
Like I don't think I'd be shocked now if they win the AFC.
Based on schedule, I'd be surprised. I think it's still probably Chiefs won because they have the game. It's basically only a half game over the Bills. But that's what it kind of comes down to is the Bills, I think, have the second best odds because they have the tiebreaker over Kansas City. That Steelers-Chiefs game is going to really have a lot of... I know that's a really kind of a cop-out answer, but that whoever wins that game is going to probably be in the driver's seat. But the Bills could still be there too.
But I even mean like representing the AFC in the Super Bowl, like winning the AFC championship.
Okay, you don't mean one seed. You mean overall as far as that.
Yes.
The Bills to me seem like the best team in the AFC at this exact moment. At this moment, it's the Bills, and I don't think it's particularly close, but I was wondering, and you're right, the Steelers are answering every single question. The question was, what would happen if they got into a shootout? Could they score enough? Scored 44. Yeah. I get Cincinnati's defense is atrocious, but the Bengals were putting up points after points after points, and the Steelers matched and then some. So, yeah, they're answering the questions. They really are. I don't think I'm ready to put them over the Bills. I don't think I'm ready to put them over Kansas City, but they're definitely top 3 in the AFC. They're definitely, I think, that third team.
Yeah, and I think that's exactly it. I'm not saying, I think they have a better chance of winning than the Chiefs or the Bills, but I think previously I was looking at the Steelers as, okay, they're playing a little bit better than, or their record's a little bit better than how they've been playing. They're likely going to be an early playoff exit. I don't look at them as necessarily an early playoff exit anymore.
Yeah, I don't either. Again, it was, to me, Houston and Buffalo and Kansas City and the Ravens. But the Ravens
Steelers above the Ravens, yeah.
And the Ravens can't win seemingly against, like, I know they beat the Bills earlier on the season, all that stuff, but they haven't. They can't put teams away. They're not closing games out. They're not doing what I thought they were going to do. Houston's been a disappointment, but that's mostly because the offensive line has been just atrocious. Every Houston game I watch, it's C.J. Stroud under duress, does not have time to even get the ball out to his weapons. As good as Joe Mixon's been, as good as Nico Collins has been when healthy, that offensive line's just not good.
Hunter asking how the Maple Leafs are looking. Here's the thing with the Maple Leafs, Hunter, not to kind of switch to hockey for 5 seconds, but they're actually looking very good. Best defense they've had in years, best goaltender they've had in years. But none of the regular season doesn't matter for the Leafs to lose in the first round. So, like, who cares how they're doing right now? They're going to lose in the first round in Game 7 in overtime. All right. Seahawks take control of the NFC West. I had a Cardinals money line bet that was an all-time gut punch yesterday. But, I mean, probably even more of a gut punch for them losing that game because now they kind of lose their grasp on the NFC West here a little bit with the Seahawks winning their game.
Yeah, I was with you. I thought, my affinity for the Arizona Cardinals, that was brutal. They've now lost 2 straight games. Seattle's won 3 straight games, something along those lines. Yeah, DK Metcalf keeps getting semi-injured almost every single game and then finds a way to come back in the game. The offense of Seattle is really, really good. Geno Smith continues to put together good seasons. Geno Smith's not an elite player. He's not a game changer, but I think he's better than just a strict game manager. Kenneth Walker didn't do a lot in this game. They didn't do a ton on the ground. They were still able to win. I think that has to count for something. Their defense is fine, solid, not spectacular, not the Bengals. Sorry, 10P kids. I see the numbers you're bringing up. I feel so bad for the Bengals defense. I mean, if you're Joe Burrow in that offense, you're sitting here going, what the bleep, guys? Because Chiefs guy over here, we know 2018 Chiefs is the same thing. It was like, you can score, they lost scoring 50 points. The Chiefs offense lost scoring 51 points. Like, I get what the Bengals fans are going through, going, the offense is electric. Just stop anyone defensively. So I actually do feel for you guys. That sucks. That's frustrating football to watch. Seattle doesn't have that. So if I was placing money, I'd place on Seattle. Niners are toast. We talked about it. I get it. The variance has gone against them every single game. But
then it's gone to the point where now it's just like they've imploded because of it.
It doesn't even matter anymore.
Yeah.
And Christian McCaffrey, I feel for him. That's just horrible. I mean, he knew it right away. And it looks like it's a PCL injury. They're going to get some more imaging and everything done today. Sounds like he could be done for this season, which if you're the Niners and you're not playing for anything, you might as well shut it down. Horrible first overall draft pick by me in fantasy football. So I apologize. Probably my fault.
I feel like that's a curse in fantasy football. I feel like every player that's like the consensus number one overall always gets hurt. And then just not only the Vikings pulled off the last second win, Colts pulled off the last second win too. That kind of keeps them alive a little bit in the playoff hunt. If the Broncos,
that was huge. That was huge. The Colts had to have that, or else their season was basically done.
Yeah, I mean their backs are still up against the wall. But you're right. If they lose that game, it's over.
What does that tell you about Anthony Richardson? That's twice now this year. Like a final drive. That was fourth down. Fourth down, he found Alec Pierce in the end zone. Great job by the offensive line on that play. Underrated. The offensive line gave him a lot of time for Alec Pierce to eventually do that little crosser route to get in there. And then that 2-point conversion. He got kind of stopped on the goal line, but he kept going. That's why, again, that final drive was an example of why they spent that draft pick on Anthony Richardson. He can be a game changer. Sometimes it's for the worst. Sometimes it is that Jameis Winston, just chuck it and you're like, take the 4 yards. Don't throw the interception, take the 5-yard pass. But then you also see him do that on that final drive, the 2-point conversion, and you go, that is a game-changing franchise quarterback type of play. I don't know what your thoughts are on Anthony Richardson, if they've changed or not after those 2 game-winning drives against the Jets and now this one against the Patriots, but I was left impressed.
Yeah, but also don't forget, sandwiched in between those 2 games was an absolute bum performance against who the Colts played last week. Why am I blanking on that?
I forgot they played last week.
He went back to completing like 30% of passes. So, he had 2 great performances there against the Jets and the Patriots, though. So I need to see it against a much better team before I kind of buy back in on Anthony Richardson. Why am I blanking on who the Colts played last week? They just lost to someone this past week, and he completed 30% of passes. The Lions.
Well,
right.
It's the Lions.
You're right, but it's also the Patriots.
Sure.
So you can't have 2 extremes. Show me something. At least have a decent performance against a good defense. I get it's the Lions, but still he completed 30% of passes. But yeah, hey, kudos to him. You're as good as your last game, and he certainly played extremely well, especially in crunch time, which is, there's something to be said for that. All right, let's talk Monday Night Football. It is the Browns and the Broncos. Browns season obviously likely over. The Broncos still holding a pretty firm grasp on that number 7 playoff spot. That grasp will get even tighter if they win tonight. 6-point favorites at home. What are your general thoughts on this one?
Yeah, 6 points might be a little too much, maybe a little too rich for me, but the way Bo Nix and the Broncos are playing is very impressive. They have shocked me, surprised me. I thought this year was going to be just a complete rebuild season. I thought they made the right move getting out of Russell Wilson's contract by getting out, just basically they did cut him, right? And just eat the money now. Eat it all up front so you can rebuild for the future going forward. They got rid of Justin Simmons, didn't bring him back. A very, very talented safety. And I thought they might win 3 or 4 games. They've already won 7. Bo Nix, I was almost laughing at the pick. I thought, okay, an older quarterback, not a lot of upside. What do you see in him? I was wrong. Already, Bo Nix has shown me more than I thought his ceiling would be. I've been very impressed. Cortland Sutton has been a really nice wide receiver for a while now. Perpetually underrated. He's been good. The running back room, it's just going by hot hand. Whether it's Estime, McLaughlin, Javonte Williams, they all bring a little something different to the table. Offensive line has done enough, and their defense has bounced back. Their defense looks a lot better than it did the past few seasons. Sean Payton can still coach. I think that's kind of what it comes down to, is Sean Payton can still coach. Because I was ready to throw the towel on him saying, well, if you don't have Drew Brees, he clearly is not the guy. Well, he can still coach. Game has not passed him by. He just needed a quarterback who was okay. Russell Wilson, whatever the reason was, that he could not get Pittsburgh Russ out of him in Denver. But he's getting a lot out of Bo Nix. I've been thoroughly impressed with Denver. Sorry to go on this rant, but I got to tip my cap because I did not expect this at all.
Yeah, the thing that I'm kind of keeping an eye on for this game, 10P Kid said an incoming bad Jameis game against this Broncos defense. He's going to bet for him to throw at least one interception minus 145. I mean, is there a line for over 1.5 interceptions? Can he get to 2? Because I'm concerned about Jameis against the Broncos defense. Obviously, one of the most elite defenses in the NFL, especially their secondary. You can run the ball a little bit on the Broncos defense. You can't throw the ball in the Broncos defense. So Jameis is going to sling it. It's at Denver. I think the Browns might be a little bit overvalued because they won that game against the Steelers in the snow, but I think snow games you have to kind of wipe those from the record books. Yeah. I think that this is a tough game for Jameis on the road against his Denver defense. Good luck. I am on the Denver Broncos, but as we always do, or at least we did at the start of the season, then we stopped doing it the middle part of the season. We're back to doing it now. We're giving out a touchdown score for Monday Night Football. I'm going to go with the guy you mentioned, Sterling, Cortland Sutton. Not that long ago, Cortland Sutton was held receptionless against the Saints. 0 targets, 0 receptions back on, I don't know what week that this is, but October 17th. Since then, 8 receptions, 100 yards, 7 receptions, 122 yards, 6 receptions, 70 yards, and a touchdown. 7 receptions, 78 yards, 8 receptions, 97 yards, 2 touchdowns. I don't know what happened after that game where he didn't even get a single target, but him and Bo Nix now have been hubbing. They got chemistry. They got a great connection. He's been scoring touchdowns, so I'm going to take Cortland Sutton to find the end zone once again, which the odds were plus 140, I found.
I'm going with – I like that, by the way. I like that one a lot. I'm going with a kind of a long shot here, a little bit of a surprise. But with, as I mentioned, the Broncos doing running back by committee, you never know who's going to be the guy.
Yep.
I'm going with Audric Estime. Plus 300 for a touchdown. Again, I wouldn't sprinkle a lot on this one by any means, but against the Chiefs 3 weeks ago, he was the lead back. He was the guy. And then it was Javonte Williams. And then it was kind of like Jaleel McLaughlin. I'm like, is this like a rotation, like game by game by game? Because they don't tell you. I mean, Javonte Williams against the Chiefs had 1 carry.
Yeah.
Only 1. So I don't know how to make this, because then Javonte Williams went out and had the pass too, has had a lot of touches.
Yeah.
I'm going with Audric Estime. I think this could be a game where he gets an opportunity, especially if the Browns get up a lot. Again, I don't think it's going to be a blowout, but if it trends that way, you'll see probably a lot more Audric Estime. He's not had a touchdown yet. I feel like this could be a good game for him to get his first career NFL touchdown. Give me Audric Estime.
All right, I like it. Yeah, running back by committee. May as well take a guy with some longer odds there. All right, that is the show. Thank you all so much for watching, listening. Subscribe to Stacking the Box on YouTube. Sterling, final thoughts before we wrap this up.
Yeah, Chiefs fans, be nice to Iain. Okay, he is a tortured fan. He roots for bad teams. His Falcons, to say they've imploded is an understatement. Give back to the lesser, and that's Iain. So don't be mean to Iain.
Every single person that has been in my mentions and DMs, not only is a Chiefs fan, it's kind of weird that like for somehow what I'm saying is so dead wrong and I'm an idiot, but yet it's only Chiefs fans saying that. I don't think I've seen a single non-Chiefs fan say that. And then I look at their profile and they have a Chiefs cover photo or a Chiefs profile picture or something, or they have Patrick Mahomes in their username. It's Chiefs fans are relaxed. Just enjoy your Super Bowls. There's no need to come after me.
Hey, have I been reasonable, Ian?
You have been.
Have I been? Thank you. That's all I want from you, Ian. I'm not a homer. I'm a realist.
I appreciate that.
Yeah.
I appreciate that. But to the Chiefs fans who haven't, just leave me alone. Like Sterling said, I'm a tortured fan. Am I jealous? Absolutely.
And then Falcons fans, I'm still waiting on that apology letter that I was supposed to get. Still have not gotten that one yet. Shocking.
Don't give him an apology. All right. Thank you all so much for watching and listening. We'll be back Wednesday, 5 p.m. Eastern to preview NFL Week 14, the final week of bye weeks, and then we'll officially be in the final stretch of the season. Thank you all so much for watching. We'll talk to you then.